Everyone, my name is Ashley Jacobson. I'm a disability civil rights attorney, a vocational rehabilitation counselor, and a proud disabled woman in the state of Michigan. And I wanted to talk to you about why it's critical that we stay on top of our local lawmakers. Because whether you're in a blue state, a red state, a swing state, there are a lot of people who are attacking civil rights laws behind closed doors quietly, and the media is not covering it. And I think it would surprise people to know what their lawmakers are actually doing. And I'm hopeful by showing you some examples that we might be able to address things on a local level as well. Because when we lose federal protections, the state laws are really the last defense that we have for addressing these attacks. And so when I look at state level laws, I'm not looking for news articles. I'm literally going to the state legislature site and looking up the actual laws. So I'll show you exactly how I do it. I'm going to share my screen here. Alrighty. Okay, so this is an example of one of the laws or acts that's being proposed, right? So this is the Foster Care and Adoption Services Act. They're proposing amendment to that. How did I find that out? So if you just go to, I mean, you can Google your state legislature, but in Michigan, it's just legislature.michigan, or I'm sorry, legislature.mi.gov is the site. And when you scroll down here, you can go to the daily bill status report, today's bill activity, bills, resolutions. But I like to go to this recent activity section here and just click on the first one and scroll through. Okay, these are the bills that are being proposed by your local legislatures if you're in the state of Michigan. So that one has to do with income tax for higher education. Okay, some hunting ones. Establishing a trial court system. That's kind of interesting. Children in foster care. That was that other bill that I brought up because I wanted to see what they wanted to amend because I represent a lot of foster kids. But let's keep going. Oh, what is this? House Bill 4751 of 2025. Now, I want to bring your attention to the fact that these are all of the sponsors on this bill, and therefore these are all people you should reach out to if you disagree with this. Josh Shriver, not surprised at all that he's on that list, just from District 66. Matt Maddock from District 51. Joseph Fox from District 101. Cameron Cavett from District 106. Gregory Markinen from District 110, and Steve Cara from District 36. All of them have sponsored a bill to remove civil rights for certain individuals under the Elliott Larson Civil Rights Act. And when I say that states are the last line of defense for protecting our rights, and they'll take those defenses away quietly, that's what they're trying to do here. They're trying to remove sexual orientation and gender identity as protected classes under the Elliott Larson Civil Rights Act. Under that Civil Rights Act, it protects people based on race, gender, and previously sexual orientation and gender identity was something that had kind of been debated and then included. And now these sponsors, Josh Shriver, Matt Maddock, Joseph Fox, Cameron Cavett, Gregory Markinen, and Steve Cara, are all trying to, at this time, focus on removing civil rights for people based on sexual orientation and gender identity. And to me, as a Michigander, it's concerning to me that that's their priority right now. It's also concerning to me as a civil rights attorney that they want to take away civil rights when those protections truly don't harm anyone and protect a lot of people. And so that's a big concern. Let's see any other bills that they're working on. See. Okay, mental health. Oh, you'll notice that these are all the same people that are sponsoring House Bill 4752. Josh Shriver, Matt Maddock, Joseph Fox, Cameron Cavett, Gregory Markkanen, and Steve Cara. You know, as an attorney that works with a lot of kids with disabilities and kids in the foster care system, I'm sure I don't need to tell all of you that mental health treatment is already incredibly scarce for children. And there are not enough beds, there are not enough services, there's not enough mental health care providers that are taking on new clients. And yet, instead of focusing on that, Josh Shriver, Matt Maddock, Joseph Fox, Cameron Cavett, Gregory Markkanen, and Steve Cara instead of introduced a House bill to allow conversion therapy. So again, I know that part of this is distraction. They're doing it for attention, but they're also doing it probably to deflect from other things. But this is incredibly damaging. It's not supported by mental health professionals at all. And conversion therapy is essentially saying that if somebody says, I'm gay or I'm a lesbian or I'm queer or I'm transgender, whatever it might be, that essentially they should be subjected to abusive practices that are not therapy. Conversion therapy is essentially we're going to change who you are because we don't agree with who you are. And so for these adult men to think that at this point in time, or any point in time really, that this should be their priority shows that they're not qualified to be in the positions they're in, and perhaps Michiganders should consider voting them out. Let's see what else they're working on. Okay, so House Bill 4753 of 2025, all sponsored by the same folks. Josh Shriver, Matt Maddock, Joseph Fox, Cameron Cavett, Gregory Markkanen, and Steve Cara. So they're trying to remove even more civil rights. So under this House bill, protections for the termination of pregnancy under the Elliott-Larsen Civil Rights Act, remove and restore to former provisions. So protection for the termination of pregnancy under the Elliott-Larsen Civil Rights Act. Essentially, they're saying because the Elliott-Larsen Civil Rights Act prevents discrimination based on gender or sex, that it also protects for the termination of pregnancy, and therefore they want to remove that protection because they don't believe in shishmortion. So interesting that, again, that's where these lawmakers are spending their time. It just doesn't seem like they're working to achieve anything that anyone who voted that for them wants them to achieve. But I didn't vote for them, so what do I know, I guess. Tax credit, credit for cash and food donation to certain nonprofits. You'll notice that it's a different group of people that are doing that for the American Michiganders. Consumer protection against deceptive ticket sales. Okay. Kind of I think, a mixed bag here on that one. Concealed weapons. This is interesting. A lot of the same GOP lawmakers, but a lot of people joined in on this one. House Bill 4756, weapons, concealed pistols in state capitol allow. So they want to amend current law 2013 PA 240 or MCL 4.1946 to allow for concealed pistols in the state capitol. Again, I think it's really interesting that that's their focus right now. Oh, look, they finance local government. So it looks like they're trying to, some people, a lot of people are looking towards House Bill 4758 for reemployment and unemployment services for dislocated federal employees and veterans. Creates a new act. Curious to see where that goes. Don't have a lot of information on it at this time, but I'll look into it. I'll keep you posted there. Okay. So really what we're looking at here is one group that is focused on taking away protections for citizens and people in this country. And then the other group that's looking to protect those individuals. House Bill 4760 is attempting to require law enforcement officers to not be able to use facial coverings or disguises in certain circumstances and requires appropriate identification. I would imagine that this has stemmed from the incidents with ICE and people being taken off the streets without having ICE properly identify that they are even ICE or law enforcement or anything, warrant, any documentation whatsoever. So I imagine that that's where this came from. So that's kind of a cursory look at how I investigate what our state lawmakers are doing. And then from there, what I do is I'll reach out to their office via email and or phone call and request that we set up a time to talk. And I know that everybody is drained right now. I'm drained right now. My lupus is flaring. I'm trying to help as many people as I can. And I think all of us feel like at the end of the day, we're questioning, have we done enough? What more can we do? And this is one of the concrete things that you can do to learn about what your local lawmakers are doing, holding them accountable, letting them know people are paying attention, and asking them to not take away rights and protections. If you have any questions and you're in the state of Michigan and you want legal advice, feel free to contact my office, Jacobson Law and Advocacy. Or if you need consulting assistance on a case that involves disability, expert testimony, accommodations assessments, through my consulting firm, Adaptive Inclusion, I can provide those nationwide and even have consulted internationally. So if you have questions, I may be able to help, or I can at least point you in the right direction. But I thank you all for paying attention and for creating awareness about these issues. And I really ask that you reach out to all of those sponsors on those bills and let them know your thoughts.